some crucial times of the game that we grew up a little bit, and also we know that the challenge that waits on us. An opportunity on Saturday in a great Kentucky team, and the way that they've played. 6-1, they're 6-1 for a reason. They run the ball extremely well, and they play great defense. And they're well coached. And Mark has done about as good a job as anybody could do in the time that he's been given on building the program. He's got his stamp all over it. You can see the way that he's recruited. I think year 1 they won 2 games. Year 2 they won 5. Year 3 they won 5. And he's kind of taken off from there. He was given time to do it. He's done it the way he wanted. And he's got a team that's playing as good a football as anybody in the country. Our guys will be excited to go play and understand the within the game on what we need to do to have an opportunity. And so we've got to be able to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. We've got to be able to run the football. We've got to find a way to slow down their rushing attack. And then we've got to capitalize. We've got to win the turnover margin. So should be a great atmosphere. Our guys are excited about having a chance to play at home and against one of the best teams in the country right now.
Was Albert's game on Saturday more a result of kind of matchups within that game, or did he play better than he's been playing the first half of the year?
I think he played better, but also some of that had to do with some of the things specifically going into the game plan. We thought we were going to get a one-on-one matchup a couple times by formation, and we did. It held true, and then Drew was able to get him the ball in position where he could go make a play. But also, Albert caught more consistently. He ran better routes, and he played. To take stats out of it, he played his best. He played his best game up to this point.
Obviously, Benny Snell's a standout running back, but you've also played great running teams with Alabama and Memphis. How have those games prepared you for this week?
I think each week, you go into it on the things that the other team does really well, and Kentucky, obviously, with both their tailbacks, they find ways to attack you, and every week there's a different tweak in what they do to have success. They have their foundational beliefs that they do a great job of, but Benny is as good as there is in the country. He's a strong, powerful guy that looks like there's not anything there, and you turn around and he's broke it off, found a way to get 20 yards. Their quarterback run game is explosive, and Eddie Grans, their coordinator, he was at Cincinnati when I was at Memphis, and we've gone against each other a number of times, and he is, in my opinion, as good as there is at designing plays and using his personnel as there is in the country.
Coach, the fans see big touchdown passes from Drew Lock and stuff like that. You know him and the offense pretty well. From the inside, what are some things you're seeing positively about him, notably in that last game that maybe not everybody gets to see?
Well, I think one of the best plays Drew had the other day was on the 4th down, 4th and 1. It was a dynamic catch by Jonathan Johnson to end up coming up with the ball. But Drew, the throw might have been there when he first got out on the rollout, but he waited just a minute because it wasn't a clean throw. And he trusted long enough that we were going to have it protected, and he trusted that one of the receivers was going to work his way to getting open. That shows signs of having belief in what the play call was, but also believing in himself on waiting for it to clear up and then make the throw. There was another one coming to our bench. I think it was on a 2nd down. Everything was covered. And instead of trying to force one or throw back across your body, you just threw it out of bounds. Let's go play 3rd down. Those are things that you want your quarterback to do. Drew's making a lot of great throws, but he's also within the game. He's got guys that he's counting on, and he knows where they're lined up. They know what route they're going to get. He understands the timing on coming in and out of the break with some of our new guys in different spots. I think he's got a very, very good comfort level right now, maybe a lot more than it was even 3 weeks ago.
Barry, this Kentucky defense is as good as the ones we've seen earlier this season. Just what stands out about them on film, and specifically Josh Allen, who's getting All-American talk from some places?
Yeah, I'm just looking down statistically, rushing defense in our league. There are 2, total defense 2, scoring defense 1. and it shows up. They do a great job on being aggressive and almost suffocating in coverage on the way that they play their match zone coverage stuff. Interior defensive line is really solid. Allen is a difference maker. 34, the linebacker is so active, makes plays all over the place. They're an older group that looks like that they've played a bunch of ball together, and it shows up in the way that they play. They're as good as a defense as we've seen.
Barry, over here. Kentucky kind of maybe on paper appears one-dimensional because they run the ball a lot more than they pass, but some of the defensive players said that even though they run the ball a lot, they do some things to kind of confuse you as to exactly where that run's going to go. Just how exactly do they do that?
Well, there's a lot of different formations they give you, and then also some of the motion, the window dressing, so to speak, on trying to get your eyes in the wrong spot, but also the pool game with either the center, the guard, the backside tackle, the offset tight end. There's different. Once a guy pulls to the other side of the formation, well, there's another gap, so you better have another hat for that. And the way that it plays out, and then the tailbacks and the quarterback, I think they're really, really good players, especially with the ball in their hand, and they've got patience enough to wait for the block to happen. And I don't know that they're getting enough credit up front for their offensive line the way that they play. They're a tough, nasty group.
When you talk about Jalen Knox being somebody who's mature as a freshman, what goes into a freshman being mature? What exactly do you mean by that?
I think not reading how good everybody's telling him that he is, the understanding that how he practices is how he's going to play. He'll make a big play out on the field and puts the ball down and runs back and gets the next play call. There's not time for celebration or let's go get the next one. But he also he spends a lot of time on watching video outside of the time that we require him to do it. And most of the time you're teaching guys how to watch film, you're teaching guys and giving them opportunities to learn on the process on what it takes to go play and play at a high level. And he kind of was brought up that way, I guess, because he got it kind of the first day he walked in the door here.
Barry, how has Emmanuel looked since he got back to town, and just what sense of a timetable do you have for him?
Yeah, he did a little bit today practice-wise. Was limited, but it was better and looked better than it has the last 5 weeks or however long it's been. I think we're getting close. So afterwards, after he ran and did some things, he said he felt really good. We're going to do a little bit more tomorrow and see where we get tomorrow on Thursday and see how close we are for this week.
Barry, you expressed your frustration after the game Saturday with the penalties. How do you go about this week in practice and head into Saturday correcting those?
Well, you look at the penalties that we committed last week, and then you show those to your guys. Number one, as a staff, we evaluated and critiqued them all. What can we do better as coaches to make sure we don't commit those penalties? And then if you have a penalty in practice, then you're going to do the same thing on Saturday. That doesn't change. So we've got a little bit of awareness training that has gone into play for guys that commit penalties, and hopefully it makes them aware not to do it again. That's like extra running. It's coach kicking their tail. So anyway, we got to have it in our favor.
Barry, through your years of coaching, have you found a tried and true way of helping players cope with loss, or is it a situation by situation kind of thing?
Loss in what regard?
We're going back to Emmanuel, sorry.
No, I think every situation is different, and it's just like the people in that we all know that everyone handles a little bit differently. So my number one job and when you have a real relationship with the guys, make sure they've got all the support system in place that they need. There is no way in the world that I can tell Emmanuel what he's going through. I don't know. I haven't walked one day in his shoes, and I just want to help him. I want to support him, and I want him in this time of his life to know that any time that day or night he wants to talk or not talk, that there's a lot of people here that care about him.
Outside of him, I know Nate's back on the depth chart. Do you expect to have everybody ready to play on Saturday outside of him? I do, and Nate did some things today in practice, more today than he's done any Tuesday in a long time. So that was promising and exciting. Trying to think, everybody else. We had a couple guys with red pullovers on today. That only means
they were able to go through practice limited in whatever way, but injury report is, we should, unless something crazy between now and then, we should have everybody out there, which is awesome.
Barry, a win this weekend would be your first against a ranked team. Does that add any extra validation to what you guys are doing in the direction of your program?
I think every week's a little bit different. It would be the next step for us on beating a really quality team. It's a divisional opponent, which is another reason that it's huge for us. I'm not going to get really tied into, man, we got to beat a ranked team, we got to do this. And the Purdue game, that win, that's looking pretty good now. So there's going to be some through the course of a 12-week season. I want to win because it's the next one. And the week after that, I want to win that one because it's the next game. If I get tied into the number or non-number beside their name, then it's focused on the wrong things for me.
When you were a senior, you led a resurgent Tiger team, obviously. One of the other leaders on that team was in Ernest Blackwell. Can you speak a little bit on your recollection of him as a teammate and his legacy at the university?
Well, when I was a senior, Ernest had already graduated, so we weren't the same age. He was older than I was, and then my senior year, we didn't have a very good year. So factual, 97 and 98 we were pretty good. 99 I was a senior, and we took a step back. But just to make sure, just research that a little bit. But Ernest was a guy that was a tremendous talent, maybe one of the most gifted athletes I've ever seen. And I mean, he was 6'3", 255 pounds, probably our fastest guy on the team. Had tremendous skills, great teammate. His locker was either right next to mine or two doors down, so to speak. So I got to know Ernest really well. And what a great athlete, and for me, getting to know him on the way that I did, we had a close relationship as a friendship, and it's obviously his course after he left here ended in a tragic way, but as a guy that made his mark not only on our program, but there's a lot of guys that cared about Ernest, and we're friends with him, and still today with his family.
Barry, after looking at film, the two targeting calls you got on Saturday, I mean, those, I guess, are those ones you send in, were they correct, and how do you have guys avoid doing what they did there?
They were tough to watch. You can, on almost any play, if there's any contact that looks, number one, if the crowd ever gives an ooh or an ah, you're probably going to get a flag. And for us, the teaching, if you're blocking behind the play, behind the ball, the technique and looking for, come here, Sean, real quick. The technique now on delivering that blow is behind. You're going to have to go and almost taking the charge. So I'm going to get my tail kicked, right, by going and taking the charge. The other day, our point of contact, I always talk about this area from shoulder really to hip or thigh on the target area where you've got to be able to make contact with somebody. But out on open space, and it's behind the play, behind the ball, any target now for us or blocking technique, you're going to see this movement, okay, or you're going to see what we call a butt block. You're going to try to get in the way that direction. Because the way that we blocked the other day in both situations, coming back, and they were both pretty good blocks, but we went a little bit too high, and the target, instead of here, was maybe 2 inches here, and the defender saw it coming at the same time, so some kids hips at the same time. So as you lead to go, and he sinks down, we can't do it. So now this is going to be a new blocking technique. So we'll take that, and we'll learn and teach from it. Both were exceptional calls by the officiating crew, and great teaching lessons for a football team.
Coach, you spoke about Kentucky having a lot of seniors, experienced defense. I mean, what have you seen in those guys that makes them so good as a team? Obviously, they've improved a lot this year from last year. And what's the challenge coming up against that defense?
Well, they're assignment sound. They play extremely hard. They don't make mistakes throughout the course of a game. They play consistent. They understand the scheme of what they're being asked to do, and I think they tackle well. They're disruptive. 41, 34 can kind of go on and on. You know, their tackle for loss, the way that they play off of each other. I mean, all those components go into playing good defense, and they kind of got it all going right now.
Anything more? Okay, Coach, what you
I'll teach a bunch of other techniques. Go next door and go down on the field and got them going. So thank you guys. Have a great week.